There are dreams that were not created by your mind, but sent from heaven. That's right. Not all the dreams you've had were born from your thoughts, your emotions, or your memories. Some, and this is something very few understand, come from higher dimensions as carefully prepared messages, encoded with symbols, visions, and emotions that only the soul can interpret. These are dreams you cannot ignore, because they don't just wake you up. They awaken you. They shake you from within and leave you with questions that logic cannot answer. They mark you. For centuries all over the world, people have spoken of dreams sent by God, the Creator, the divine source. Dreams that arrive when the soul is ready to receive a calling, sometimes gentle, other times overwhelming, but always precise. In this video, we will explore 11 clear signs that a dream was not a product of your mind, but a manifestation of the sacred. Some of these signs will surprise you. Others you may have already experienced without realizing their true meaning. This is not about superstition or fantasy. This is a profound revelation that many souls have received throughout the ages. What you are about to discover could help you understand why you dreamed what you dreamed, and more importantly, why you dreamed it now. Because God does not speak at just any moment. He speaks when your soul is prepared to respond. And if you're here, maybe that's yet another sign you should not ignore. Stay until the end, because the last sign, number 11, is one of the most powerful. It's one many people experience, but almost no one interprets correctly. And that one could change your life forever. Write in the comments, "Yes, I'm ready," if you feel this message is for you. Your soul already knows it. It just needs you to recognize it too. Since the dawn of humanity, dreams have been much more than random images. In sacred texts, in ancient writings, and in the oral traditions of many peoples, we find a recurring pattern. God speaks in dreams. Joseph, son of Jacob, received visions revealing the future. Daniel in Babylon interpreted dreams no wise man could understand. And through them, God guided empires. Even in the New Testament, it was in a dream that Joseph, the husband of Mary, received divine instructions to protect the child Jesus. These were not coincidences. They were spiritual interventions, planned. Why through dreams? Because when we sleep, the noise of the world fades, the rational mind dissolves, and what remains is the soul, open and receptive. In that state, without distractions or mental filters, we are purer, more sensitive, more connected with the divine. That is when God's energy can enter without resistance or interference. When the body rests, the spirit listens. And in that sacred silence, the Creator's voice can be clearer than ever. There are different types of prophetic dreams. Some are warning dreams, announcing danger, a wrong decision, or an imminent threat. Others are divine callings, inviting the person to change their path, to awaken their purpose, or to begin a deep transformation. There are also mission dreams, in which a task we must fulfill is revealed, something beyond ourselves. And of course, there are preparation dreams, ones we don't understand at first, but that prepare the ground for something that will come later. Not all dreams have a spiritual origin, that's true, but there are signs, emotions, and details that distinguish a simple dream from a celestial message. And you, if you are here, it's because your soul already knows. Maybe you've had dreams that left a mark, that you couldn't forget, that made you wake up with tears, with trembling, or with a peace you can't explain. In them might lie the answer you've been searching for. There is one type of dream that is unlike any other. It doesn't have confusing images or strange sequences. It's pure, direct, and when it happens, you never forget it. In these dreams, you hear a voice. Sometimes it calls you by name. Other times, it simply speaks with an authority that cannot be questioned. It is not a human voice. It is not a product of your imagination. It is something deeper, vaster, an energy that communicates with a certainty that leaves no room for doubt. It doesn't matter if you've never felt anything like it before. When that voice manifests, your soul recognizes it, because there is no confusion, no ambiguity, only absolute clarity. It may be a phrase, an instruction, or a single word, but it is enough to transform your entire life. There are no shouts, no violence, only a firm, luminous presence that takes your breath away. Many recount feeling a deep calm in the dream, but upon waking, their tears fall without knowing why. They only feel that something immense spoke to them, and that everything has changed. This kind of dream often comes at key moments, when you're about to give up, to make an important decision, or when your soul is ready to receive divine guidance. That is when the voice appears, not to convince you, but to remind you of something you already knew, something you had forgotten, a calling written in the depths of your being. And upon waking, you can no longer live as you did before. Because even if you don't understand why, you know you were touched by something sacred. This sign is not common, but those who have lived it know it is not just a dream. It is a manifestation, a meeting with your destiny. If you have heard that voice in your dreams, you are not alone. You are being guided. Has this ever happened to you? Leave us a comment. And if you feel this message is important, like subscribe and share it so it reaches those who need it. There are dreams in which no words appear, but the presence says it all. Visions where an intense light, sometimes white, golden, bluish, or simply indescribable, fills the entire space of the dream. In the midst of that light, a figure appears. It may be an angel, a being with no defined face, or even a human silhouette wrapped in energy. But what matters is not what it looks like. It's what it feels like. An immense peace, a presence that does not cause fear, but a reverence that comes from the soul itself. These presences don't need to speak. Their mere existence communicates. When one encounters them in dreams, the body rests, but the spirit kneels because it knows without rational explanation that it is in the presence of something sacred. This is not an ordinary dream, but a deep spiritual experience. It is a visit, a reminder, a silent confirmation that you are not alone, that something or someone from above is with you, watching you, protecting you, and perhaps preparing you for something greater. When waking from a dream like this, it's common not to be able to clearly describe what you saw, but the energy remains. You feel as if that light is still inside you, as if something had been lit. Some people interpret it as a healing, others as an answer they could not put into words, but their soul understood. What's certain is that you cannot go back to sleeping the same way, because that vibration you felt still lives in your chest. Throughout history, mystics, prophets, saints, and seekers have recounted similar encounters. What changes is the cultural language, but the essence is the same. A radiant figure, a contact with the divine, and a spiritual imprint that never fades. If you've ever dreamed of a light you couldn't explain, or a presence that made you cry with gratitude, it's very likely that you were touched by a celestial vision. And that kind of dream is not fabricated. It is granted. There are dreams that are not just visions. They are assignments. During the dream, something opens within you, and suddenly you find yourself before a figure, a wise voice, an angel, an elder, or even someone you don't recognize, but whose spiritual authority is unquestionable. They give you something. Sometimes it's a phrase, other times a symbolic object, a key, a book, a glowing stone, a seal, a seed. Occasionally, they say clearly, you must speak, you must heal, you must awaken others. And when this happens, there is no doubt that you have received a mission. These dreams don't always make immediate sense. You may wake up feeling like you forgot the exact content. You don't remember the words precisely or the face of the one who spoke to you, but something inside you was activated. The feeling remains, as if part of your being had been marked with sacred fire. Some describe it as restlessness, a certainty without explanation. What used to be routine is no longer. What you didn't understand before begins to be revealed in fragments. Not all call-ins are loud. Some come in whispers, others in silent visions where the soul understands even if the mind cannot remember everything. What matters is not how much you remember, but that you were chosen, and the soul never forgets its calling. Sometimes the mission is not revealed all at once. It arrives in stages. First the seed, then the awakening, then the preparation, until one day what you dreamed comes to life, and you understand that the message was a seed of destiny. Many of the great spiritual guides in history had this kind of dream before beginning their path. The symbol or instruction they received became the compass of their existence. And the most amazing thing is, this still happens today in ordinary people destined to do extraordinary things. If you've ever dreamed of a mission, a sacred task, or felt that someone from heaven entrusted you with something, write in the comments, I received the message, because your soul already knew. It was just waiting for you to remember. There are dreams that were not created by your mind, but sent from heaven. That's right. Not all the dreams you've had were born from your thoughts, your emotions, or your memories. Some, and this is something very few understand, come from higher dimensions, as messages carefully prepared and encoded with symbols, visions, and emotions that only the soul can interpret. These are dreams you cannot ignore, because they don't just wake you up, they awaken you. They shake you from within, leaving you with questions logic cannot answer. They mark you. For centuries, in all cultures around the world, people have spoken of dreams sent by God, by the Creator, by the divine source. Dreams that come when the soul is ready to receive a calling, sometimes soft, sometimes overwhelming, but always precise. In this video, we're going to explore clear signs that a dream was not a product of your mind, but a manifestation of the sacred. Some of these signs will surprise you. Others you may have already experienced without realizing their true meaning. This is not about superstition. It's not about fantasy. This is a profound revelation that many souls have received across time. What you're about to discover could help you understand why you've dreamed what you've dreamed, and more importantly, why you dreamed it now. Because God does not speak at just any time. He speaks when your soul is prepared to respond. And if you are here, maybe this is another sign you should not ignore. Stay until the end, because the last sign is one of the most powerful. Many people experience it, but almost no one interprets it correctly. And that's the one that can truly transform your life forever. Write in the comments, "Yes, I'm ready," if you feel this message is for you. Your soul already knows. It just needs you to recognize it. Since the dawn of humanity, dreams have been much more than random images. In sacred texts, ancient writings, and the oral traditions of many peoples, we find a recurring pattern. God speaks through dreams. Joseph, son of Jacob, received visions revealing the future. Daniel in Babylon interpreted dreams no wise man could understand. Through them, God guided empires. Even in the New Testament, it was through a dream that Joseph, Mary's husband, received divine instructions to protect the child Jesus. These weren't coincidences. They were spiritual interventions, planned and precise. Why in dreams? Because when we sleep, the noise of the world fades, the rational mind dissolves, and what remains is the soul, open and receptive. In that state, without distractions or mental filters, we are purer, more sensitive, more connected to the divine. It's then that God's energy can enter, without resistance, without interference. When the body rests, the spirit listens. And in that sacred silence, the Creator's voice can be clearer than ever. There are different types of prophetic dreams. Some are warning dreams, announcing danger, a wrong decision, or imminent threat. Others are divine callings, inviting a person to change their path, awaken their purpose, or begin a deep transformation. There are also mission dreams, in which a task is revealed that we must fulfill, something beyond ourselves. And of course, there are preparation dreams, which are not understood at first, but prepared a way for something that will come later. Not all dreams have a spiritual origin, this is true, but there are signs, emotions, and details that distinguish a simple dream from a heavenly message. And you, if you're here, it's because your soul already knows. Perhaps you've had dreams that marked you, that you couldn't forget, that made you wake up with tears, trembling, or a peace you cannot explain. In them may lie the answer you've been seeking. There is one type of dream unlike any other. It has no confusing images or strange sequences. It's pure, direct, and when it happens, you never forget it. In these dreams, you hear a voice. Sometimes it calls your name. Other times, it simply speaks to you with an authority that cannot be questioned. It's not a human voice. It's not a product of your imagination. It's something deeper, vaster, a presence that communicates with a certainty that leaves no room for doubt. It doesn't matter if you've never felt anything like it before. When that voice manifests, your soul recognizes it. Because there is no confusion, no ambiguity, only absolute clarity. It may be a phrase, an instruction, or a single word, but it's enough to transform your entire life. There are no screams, no violence, only a firm, luminous presence that leaves you breathless. Many people say they feel a deep calm during the dream, but upon waking, their tears fall on their own. They don't know why they cry. They just feel that something great has spoken to them and everything has changed. These dreams often come at key moments, when you're about to give up, make an important decision, or when your soul is ready to receive divine direction. That's when the voice appears, not to convince you, but to remind you of something you already knew, something you had forgotten, a calling written deep within your being. And upon waking, you can no longer live as before, because even if you don't understand why, you know you were touched by something sacred. This sign is not common, but those who've lived it know it's not just a dream. It's a manifestation, a meeting with your destiny. If you heard that voice in your dreams, you're not alone. You're being guided. Has this ever happened to you? Leave a comment. And if you feel this message is important, like it, subscribe, and share it so it reaches those who need it. There are dreams where no words appear, but the presence says it all. These are visions where an intense light, sometimes white, golden, bluish, or simply indescribable, fills the entire space of the dream. In the middle of that light, a figure appears. It might be an angel, a faceless being, or even a human-shaped silhouette wrapped in energy. But what matters is not how it looks. It's what you feel. An immense peace, a presence that doesn't cause fear, but a reverence that arises from the soul itself. These presences do not need to speak. Their very existence communicates. When you encounter them in dreams, the body rests, but the spirit kneels. Because somehow, without any rational explanation, you know you're in front of something sacred. This is not an ordinary dream. It's a deep spiritual experience. It is a visitation, a reminder, a silent confirmation that you are not alone, that something or someone from above is with you, watching you, protecting you, and maybe preparing you for something greater. Upon waking from such a dream, it's common not to be able to describe clearly what you saw, but the energy remains. You feel as though that light is still inside you, as if something has been ignited. Some interpret this as a healing, others as an answer that couldn't be put into words, but their soul understood it. One thing is certain: you cannot sleep the same way again, because the vibration you felt still lives in your chest. Throughout history, mystics, prophets, saints, and seekers have described similar encounters. The cultural language may differ, but the essence is the same. A radiant figure, a contact with the divine, and a spiritual imprint that never fades. If you've ever dreamed of an indescribable light or a presence that left you crying with gratitude, it is very likely that you were touched by a celestial vision. And those kinds of dreams are not made. They are granted. Stairs, doors, or paths, these elements are not there by chance. They are powerful archetypes that speak of transition, passage, spiritual transformation. When you dream of a staircase that ascends or descends, of a door you must cross, or of a path that stretches before you, you are not seeing an ordinary scene. You are receiving a sign. You are being called to move toward a new state of consciousness. These dreams may seem simple, but their inner impact is profound. Often, the staircase has no end. The door doesn't open easily. The path splits or leads you to unknown places. And that's because the spiritual process is not always linear or comfortable. It involves letting go of the old, leaving behind your comfort zone, and having the courage to cross into the unknown. But every step, every threshold, every rung is preparing you for something greater. The most interesting part is that these dreams tend to be recurring. They appear again and again, as if a part of you is still not ready to fully cross over, and that's okay. God is patient. The soul needs time, and the universe does not force what must bloom in its own moment. What matters is recognizing that each time that symbol appears, it's because your spirit is in motion. You're not stuck. You are in the process. Many spiritual seekers have described these types of visions: endless staircases leading to light, doors guarded by beings of wisdom, solitary paths in forests, deserts, or temples. Each represents a phase. Each prepares the soul to assume its true identity, its highest purpose. If you have dreamed of endless staircases, doors that invite but command respect, or paths that draw you in without knowing why, listen. It is very likely that God is calling you to cross to the other side of yourself. When the soul is in the midst of a deep process, dreams become intense, symbolic, almost overwhelming. One of the most powerful signs that may appear are trial scenarios, deep waters that seem bottomless, violent storms shaking everything in their path, or vast deserts where there is no refuge, only emptiness. These are not dreams of punishment. They are not bad omens. They are messages of purification, necessary stages on the spiritual journey you must pass through to grow, heal, and awaken. Deep water in dreams often represents buried emotions, ancestral memories, or wounds being stirred from the unconscious. When you dream of diving into it or floating without control, it may mean that you are being confronted with the deepest parts of yourself, God allowing you to see what you had hidden, because only by facing the inner abyss can you emerge stronger, purer, more conscious. The storm, in turn, symbolizes chaos before order, the shake before revelation. It does not come to destroy you, but to free you from what no longer belongs. The desert, silent and vast, is a symbol of spiritual solitude, but also of encounter with the divine. In the Bible, the prophets went to the desert to hear the voice of God. There is no noise, no distraction, only you, your soul, and the presence that dwells within. Dreaming of deserts may seem desolate, but in truth, it is an invitation to shed the superficial and discover the essential. It is a stage of preparation, a symbolic retreat where your spirit is reorganized to receive something new. These visions may generate anguish, confusion, or exhaustion upon waking, but in reality, they are a privilege. They indicate that you are being guided through the sacred fire of transformation. The soul does not evolve in comfort. It evolves when it crosses water, withstands the storm, and walks the desert with faith, with purpose, with eyes fixed on the light that awaits at the end. There are dreams that don't feel like dreams. They're more like windows open into other times, other bodies, other realities. Suddenly, you see yourself, but not as you are now. You wear different clothes, live in another place, speak another language, or belong to a culture you've never known. And yet, you know it's you. It's not imagination. It's something deeper, an echo of what your soul has already lived or is still living in another dimension of time. Dreaming of other versions of yourself can be disorienting, even shocking, but spiritually, it is one of the clearest signs that you are beginning to awaken the memory of your soul. Because the soul is not born just once, nor is it confined to a timeline. The soul remembers. The soul travels. And when you are ready to understand this, those memories begin to surface, not as thoughts, but as living experiences within the dream. You may dream of a past life in which you were a monk, a priestess, a warrior, a healer, a being from another time. Or you may appear in scenarios that don't seem from the past or present, but from alternate or parallel realities. Often, these dreams come with a strong emotional component, a feeling of recognition, an unfinished mission, or a call to resume something you already knew how to do and had forgotten. You're not losing your mind. You're reclaiming your spiritual lineage. Sometimes these dreams come to remind you that what you're living now is part of a bigger design. You're not new to this path. You've walked others before, and in many of them, you already worked with light, with knowledge, with purpose. You forgot, but your soul didn't. And now that you are more awake, those fragments return to you, not to confuse you, but to give you direction. When you dream of another version of yourself, look at it with respect, because it may be part of your eternal mission calling you to reintegrate it. And when you accept it, the present takes on new meaning, and the soul takes another step toward its wholeness. There are dreams that cannot be explained with logic, but neither can they be forgotten. It happens when, in the middle of the night, someone who has already departed from this world appears. A father, a mother, a grandparent, a friend, a child. Their face is clear, their voice familiar, and though you know they're no longer on this plane, in that moment, you feel no fear or confusion, only peace. A deep peace that seems to envelop the entire dream like a sacred presence. Because in reality, it's not just a dream, it's an encounter. These dream encounters are not hallucinations or emotional defense mechanisms. They are true bridges between dimensions, moments in which the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds thins enough to allow communication between souls. In those moments, those who have passed don't come to harm you or pull you into the past. They come with a purpose, to give you a message, offer guidance, warn you of something, or simply assure you that you are not alone. Sometimes they say nothing. They're just there, smiling, hugging you, looking at you with a compassion that transcends words. Other times, they speak clearly. They warn you of a wrong decision, show you a direction you hadn't seen, or ask you to take care of someone. Upon waking, you feel something profound has occurred. Your heart knows it, even if the mind doubts. And that feeling stays with you for days, as if a part of you had been touched by eternal love. Many deny these experiences for fear of being judged or misunderstood. But the truth is, thousands of people around the world have lived exactly the same thing. And in every case, the message is similar. Love does not die. It only transforms. And those who loved us, if given divine permission, can return briefly to help us continue our path with more clarity. If you've ever dreamed of a departed loved one and felt it wasn't just a memory, but a real encounter, listen, because in that moment, what you experienced was an act of love from heaven. A subtle intervention that confirms death is not the end, but only a shift in plane, and that the soul lives on closer than you imagine. In the world of dreams, everything has a meaning beyond the obvious. There are times when what you see is not a story with characters, but a sequence of symbols, numbers, or archetypal forms that appear over and over. You dream of clocks spinning out of control, numbers repeating on walls, or a symbol etched into your mind upon waking. Nothing seems to make sense, but the soul recognizes it as a coded message from heaven, a precise sign sent in a universal language. Sacred numbers are one of the most frequent ways God, angels, or the universe communicate during dreams. The 111th can indicate a new beginning, a spiritual opening. The 777 is a divine confirmation that you are on the right path. The 144, deeply symbolic, represents the vibration of the chosen, souls called to awaken others. When these numbers appear in dreams, they are not random. They are there to catch your attention, to remind you that you are being guided from higher realms. Likewise, The archetypal symbols that appear in dreams are portals to deeper truths. The all-seeing eye, the luminous cross, the sacred fire, celestial thrones, crowns, swords of light. These are not empty images. They are spiritual keys. Each symbol is an activation code, a way for your soul to remember who it is and why it's here. Even animals you see, like a lion staring at you or a dove descending upon you, carry a message. The lion represents divine strength, spiritual courage. The dove, the presence of the Spirit, heavenly peace. When you dream of spirals, clocks, rotating lights, or perfect geometries, you may be entering higher states of consciousness. The soul is traveling, touching frequencies that transcend time and human language. In those dreams, not everything is understood by the mind, but it is felt in the deepest part of the being, because they are coded visions from heaven, keys that open inner doors. And when you recognize them, a new stage of your spiritual awakening begins. There are dreams, and then there is that dream, the one that changes everything, the one you never forget, even after years, the one that leaves you breathless upon waking, with tears on your face, with your heart beating so hard it feels like it's outside your chest. It's so vivid, so real, so powerful, that you know without a doubt that something divine has happened. That dream wasn't just a story. It was an encounter with your deepest truth, a direct contact with your soul's purpose. Many describe it as a transformative experience. It doesn't matter if in the dream they were flying, crossing a desert, speaking with a being of light, or simply receiving a deep gaze from someone they didn't know. What changes is not the image, but what is activated within. You wake up with the feeling that something has been revealed, as if a part of you that had been asleep had finally opened its eyes. You can't go back. You can't ignore it, because it's as if the soul has received a direct command from heaven. These types of dreams come at crucial moments, when you're about to give up, when you've forgotten who you are, or when the universe decides that your time has come. Sometimes they come with indescribable urgency. You feel you must do something, change something, start something. You don't have all the answers, but now you know you can't go on living the same. And that is exactly what makes them so powerful, because they confirm what was already latent. The call has been made, and the soul has heard it. After such a dream, many people awaken their spiritual sensitivity, develop gifts that were previously dormant, or feel a clearer connection with the divine. Fear begins to lose strength. Faith ignites from within, and life begins to align, not because everything becomes easy, but because now you know who you are and why you're here. If you've ever had a dream so vivid that upon waking, you knew something had changed forever, don't doubt it. That was your spiritual awakening. And perhaps that dream was the final sign God chose to make sure you never again forget your mission on this earth. When God calls, the soul does not forget. The mind may try to explain it, deny it, or reduce it to coincidence, but the truth is, there are things only the heart can understand, and dreams are one of the divine's preferred languages. Today, we have explored 11 spiritual signs that have touched thousands of people around the world, and perhaps you too. Maybe not all of them were clear, but just one is enough to ignite the flame of awareness. Just one symbol, one voice, one vision is enough to begin awakening. Let us briefly remember what the soul already knows. If you have heard a voice calling your name, seen a light so intense it made you cry with peace, received a mission while sleeping, climbed endless stairs, crossed unknown doors, or walked on paths you didn't understand. If you drowned in deep waters, survived storms, wandered through deserts without explanation, if you saw yourself in another body, another time, or if a loved one who has passed came to speak with you, if you saw repeating numbers, sacred symbols, power animals, and if you ever had a dream so vivid it changed your life forever, then yes, God has called you. And no, it is not a coincidence that you are here listening to this right now. Synchronicity is also a sign. Perhaps this message is another way in which heaven is trying to remind you of your truth. We are not here by chance. Everything is part of a larger plan we are only beginning to understand, and the fact that you feel something as you hear these words is already proof that your soul recognizes it. That's why I invite you to honor that call, to no longer ignore what your inner self has already shown you. Because when the soul awakens, everything changes. Your gaze, your energy, your purpose. You don't need to understand it all now. You only need to take the next step with faith. If any of these signs resonated with you like this, share your experience and pass this message on to someone who has not yet remembered their calling. Because maybe you are the message another soul needs to hear.